Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast. You know what? This is our 40th episode, 40. And for some reason, that is feeling like a heck of a milestone to me. Probably because when I started this journey, yes, I intended to stick with it, but this seems like a big deal that we have, that it has become a thing, that people are listening, and that is continuing to grow, and that I'm continuing to grow through doing it. So thank you, everybody who is listening, has listened, will listen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is fun. I just want to have us take a breath in this 40th episode, take a breath for a moment, and really acknowledge where each of us is on our journey. I've been thinking a lot about this journey and about the journey, in quotation marks, on the grand scale, the journey of life that we take here on the great stage of life. Are we really noticing this journey as it happens? I think that I've talked forever about the fact that we're not just the character, we're not just the player, we're also the director, and we are also the playwright, that we are in a production of our own making. The resources for the production come from the greatest producer in the universe, and those resources are unlimited. But the way those resources get utilized, focused, the things we create with those resources, that's all up to us, each of us. And the story that we tell to ourselves and to the world, the story of our life, is a journey of our own making. And I think that if you were to close your eyes right now and just for a second, notice where you are in the journey, where would you say that you are? Are you in a place in your journey that you thought you'd be? I mean, I clearly had my doubts about 40 episodes, let alone 40 years, 60 years, on the planet. Now I'm at 60 plus years. I've got people calling me. I think of myself as being like 26, and I've got people calling me to remind me that I need to sign up for Medicare soon. It's like, yeah, that's weird. That is very weird to me. And it's not really, it's not really something that I pay a lot of attention to. I don't pay a lot of attention to age. I have friends that are in their 20s. I have friends that are in their 80s and 90s. And it's all just the community. It's the family to me. But a lot of times we get very locked into our thought of where we're supposed to be, what we were supposed to have done. We're attached to the outcome. And if the outcome of this journey that we decided somewhere in the middle, by the way, we didn't decide this, the part that frustrates us is not the part that we knew as our soulful self before we incarnated onto this planet. The part that frustrates us is the part of the journey that we decided was the journey when we were partway through the actual journey. Our production on the great stage of life started the moment we were born. That's the moment that we started playing this character. But somehow we think that there's a point when we hit adulthood where we go, or maybe in our teens, where we go, this is what I want to be when I grow up. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm. And oftentimes it's less based on what's coming from inside, from the heart, from our soulful self, than it's based on what we see out there in the world. And we see somebody with a fast car, or we see somebody with lots of attention, or we see somebody with power, and we think, some of that, please. I'm going to put my order in for that. And we get attached to the outcome. We get attached to what we identify as our success. And then we make that the goal. We make that attention or that power or that monetary goal. We make that what we're headed for. And we leave out the exploration of what we were born for. What's that true desire? What's coming in from the soulful self? What's coming from our heart? And even when we do head out on a journey in pursuit of what is coming from the soulful self, that desire, that purpose, that bliss that we know we're meant to live, we still are attached. We're attached to certain markers. We're attached to what we think are going to be the signs along the way, that even though we know we're meant for this, if we bump into, potholes and roadblocks, that must mean we're not meant for it. When we put the information into the GPS, or when we first decide that we're going to go on a journey, right? If we decide we're going to go on a trip somewhere, we don't start the trip, I hope, any of us, we don't start our trip by going, I need to check every roadway between here and my destination, make sure there is not a single pothole. I need to interpret every stop sign as a warning that maybe I should not go ahead. I need to recognize that each car that passes me, I am diminished by them being able to pass me. That each car that is bigger or different than mine, or flashier or faster or shinier than mine, that is somehow telling me that my car is not good enough. When before I started comparing, I loved my car. Now, we can beat that metaphor to death, and God knows, folks, I can extend a metaphor, right? But it's so true. When you put your information in the GPS to go somewhere, you do not say, and I'm not starting unless I know there's no stop sign, no stoplight, no bigger, better car, no pothole, no road turns, no nothing on the way. I could just coast there from here, or I'm not going. We go because of where we want to go. And sometimes we discover such amazing things along the way. Like, one of my favorite things used to be, I haven't done that recently, but maybe this is a calling to do that, used to be to just head out on a journey that was kind of an exploratory journey. Just take a trip and not really know where I was going to end up, and just enjoy seeing the trees and the landscapes and meeting people and just kind of discovering each day what new thing was there. There's not a spot on this planet that isn't interesting. It's just whether or not we allow ourselves to be interested by it, right? Because we like to be in control. We like to know who's in control of the journey writ large. So sometimes what that means is that we're not accepting responsibility. And we're not accepting responsibility in either form, either in our ability to respond to it with gratitude and curiosity and exploration and excitement and expectation. We're not willing to live in that place of responsibility, but we also are not willing to own it. Responsibility in terms of ownership. Now, we all know fault or blame have nothing to do with responsibility, but owning that you are where you are because of the story you're writing, the choices you're making. Where did any trip you've ever taken, where did it start? It started with a thought. And then you pick the thoughts you're going to follow up on, and then you take action in the pursuit of those thoughts. And you imagine what it's like when you get there, and you start out along the way. But as we start out along our journey of life, we like to look for somebody, some explanation, some why that tells us why the challenges, the contradictions, the upside down moments aren't our fault. What we really mean is they aren't our responsibility. We're not going to own them. Because when we say they aren't our fault, we mean I didn't cause that. But what happens? What if we just buy into the fact that whatever is happening, yes, we did cause it? Because our thoughts, just like every journey starts with a thought, every creation, everything that we consciously and unconsciously create starts with a thought. So what if the thoughts that we are thinking are always the cause of whatever we are experiencing? What if we are the cause? Okay, so, that doesn't mean it's a fault. It means we're accepting the cause and effect version of this universe that is what is. Our thoughts become things. Thank you, Mike Dooley. Thoughts become things. Choose the good ones, is what that man always says. Mary Morrissey always says everything is a thought before it's a thing. Well, yeah. And everything is a thing. It is in existence because somebody, including us, had to think it, had to join in that thought process. For us to be experiencing it, we have to have thoughts about it. And I always say that I work with people at the intersection of creative imagination, personal responsibility, and inspired action. So let's just think about what I'm saying. I literally have a diagram of that. And the creative imagination, personal responsibility, and inspired action. Okay. And it goes in that order. Creative imagination is the first point at which, when I'm working with people and coaching people, I help them utilize their creative imagination. In other words, to notice the thoughts they're thinking, notice the desires they're having, and then apply their imagination to it and see where it can go. See where the journey within goes. And then personal responsibility is knowing that you have 100% responsibility for your choices. You can choose what part of that creative imagination you want to actually apply to your life, what you're envisioning that you actually want to have be, and then that's where inspired action comes in. I've said many times that imagination is that bridge to the soul. That is your bridge to your soulful self. And so if you're allowing your imagination to take flight, and then you're taking personal responsibility for that flight, and then you're taking inspired action in pursuit of that creation, you're consciously creating the life that you are living. This is not a test, as I think I wrote in Spontaneous Brilliance. Your life is not a test. You're playing the character because you chose to. You are writing this story because you chose to. You're learning and growing and evolving for the sheer fun of learning, growing, and evolving. You're on this journey for the sheer fun of being on this journey. And granted, sometimes it's hard to believe that our soul is experiencing this on purpose, because the thing that we're experiencing in the egoic self is really yucky at that moment. Hard to believe that that's an intention, that that is what we intended to do. But life is what we came here to do. Life is not what we came here to do only when we feel completely safe in every moment. And it's definitely not what we came here to become worthy to do. You are in your life. It is your life. We're not living to become worthy of the life we desire, but we are here to live a life that is worthy of us. Because you out there, my friend, whoever's listening to this, you are a wonderful, magnificent, glorious little expression of source energy. And you are playing this role on the great stage of life. You have this amazing role. You've been cast. You cast yourself. And now you're writing this story. You're taking this journey. So just remember that as we are now through 40 episodes together, and we're going to do 40 more and 40 more after that and 40 more after that. Maybe there's something about the number 40. I don't know why this became such a milestone for me, but we'll have lots of 40s going forward. Let's just remember that we don't need to check for the potholes. We just need to steer around them gracefully when we hit them, or if we happen to go through them, we take great care to do it as gently as possible. We don't avoid turns in the road. We just let ourselves follow them and trust that they are still taking us toward our destination. We don't get attached to having to take this journey in a particular way. We let it unfold. Our journey in this lifetime is a journey of discovery. As you're writing this production and performing on the great stage of life, you are also discovering so many beautiful aspects of that production. Just remember that everything is happening for you. Just like any driver on the road, problem solve, collaborate with the other drivers. Just like any actor on the stage, listen, focus, be in the present moment, find the love, problem solve, embrace the obstacles, collaborate, and intentionally create the most beautiful life that you can imagine. All right, my friends. Now, just to help you with that imagining, I'm going to attach down in the comments here, or actually I say I'm going to, who am I kidding? Shelley will do it. But the link to take you to a meditation that Rex and I created, titled the Creative Imagination Meditation. It's just a free gift, and it's there on the website in 3 different versions. So there's a video version, and there's the audio version with just my voice and his music behind it. And then there is a version that is just his music if you like to just take off on your own creative imagination meditation. And he wrote the music specifically for it, and we put it in the key to align with chakras. I mean, we really thought this through. So go for it. Enjoy it. It's our free gift to you. And just have a blast with your own intersection of creative imagination, personal responsibility, and inspired action. Remember, acting is active. Get out there and do your thing. All right. And have a beautiful, glorious, blessing-filled week. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. The Spontaneous Brilliance podcast is brought to you by Miracle Communications Group. Our producer is Michelle Oneida. Sound engineer is Corey Michaels at Corey Michaels Productions. Music is composed by Rex Miller. And I'm your host, Sandra Kavanaugh. You can learn more about me and all things Spontaneous Brilliance at sandrakavanaugh.com or spontaneousbrilliance.com. And please join the conversation here at the Spontaneous Brilliance podcast by emailing us at podcast@spontaneousbrilliance.com.